Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. So we've gotten a couple of updates with Classic again. Today we got an update with loot sharing, which has been a big concern, and semi-recently we got some news about Alterac Valley, which I didn't cover because it would have been like a 2-minute video. So I figured that these two combined are video worthy to talk about really quickly for you here. As always, I'll have both of these linked in the description. So let's start with the latest news, and that's loot sharing. To the dismay of many at BlizzCon 2018, Blizzard announced that one of the things that they'll keep from the current game is loot sharing. Basically, any item that drops is tradable for 2 hours to anyone who is within the party or raid at the time that it dropped. Well, in this update, they announced that they're taking it out of parties, but they're keeping it in raids that have loot locks. So this means that the Blackrock Spire won't have loot trading. Just thought I'd throw that in there since there's been some confusion about that. This whole system was introduced in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, because as you would imagine, people would often loot items by mistake, and then they'd have to make a GM ticket asking for the item in question to be traded to the correct person. It was a lengthy process, and quite common, so at first glance, you might think that this wouldn't have any negative repercussions at all. Well, that's what I thought at least, but thinking about it more, there are some shenanigans going on, and people could exploit it quite a bit actually. Basically, you could have situations where you're in a pug by yourself, and you're running with 4 other people who all know each other, and an item drops, and one person of that group of 4 really wants it badly, so he has all of his friends roll on it as well, and if they win, they just trade it to him via this handy loot sharing system. So all of a sudden, you're rolling against 4 people when it should really just be 1. So the idea is, if loot sharing isn't in the game, and if people would have to go through GMs to do something sneaky like this, they would be more discouraged from doing it, and overall, it'll be more true to the original state of the game way back when. So it is a compromise. It is a huge improvement overall, since dungeons were more commonly pugged of course. Raids will still be pugged I'm sure, but now players have a choice. They can risk it by going into a pug raid, or find a guild that won't pull underhanded stuff like that. If you're in a guild with the same people, I imagine it'll be impossible to hide loot trading. So, in summary, only pug raids are vulnerable to this as of right now, and overall, it's a big win for those who want that authentic experience, although not exact still. And the next thing that I wanted to talk about here is the Alterac Valley. As most of you know I'm sure, this is the big 40-man battleground of Classic. It became famous for having extraordinarily lengthy matches. Many of us remember rounds that went on for days. You'd be pushing a graveyard for like 6 hours, and then go to bed, and queue up the next day, and it's the same one, and you may be pushed up to the next graveyard. It was ridiculous. Part of the reason for this was due to how tough and plentiful the NPCs were at first. Since its introduction in patch 1.5, these NPCs slowly got nerfed and removed to the point where teams could just rush towards the other side's leader and take the towers and race to the finish in like 10 minutes. So naturally, a big question from the beginning has been, what version of AV will we be getting? And recently, the answer we got is the nerfed 1.12 version. So the idea is, with a nerfed NPC and just the general knowledge that players have of the battleground today, even in Classic, we'll never see those day-long battles with the elemental lords wreaking havoc across the battlefield. So, where we got a win with loot trading, we're matched with a loss to Classic Alterac Valley if your worry is that authentic recreation. As for myself, I am a bit disappointed to be honest. The old EV was something that I was looking forward to. Some people have said that the rush mode would have happened regardless, that it was possible to just ride past everything even with the original NPCs. Personally, I can't say for sure. All I can say is that I never saw it happen when I played back then. I'm sure it did happen, but it had to have been extremely rare because I did a lot of AV back in the day before the nerfs. It does have some interesting implications outside of the battleground though. As far as we know, the old rank 14 system is seeing a return, which some of you may know was quite infamous for its extreme grind. I personally burnt out at rank 10 back in the day, which was Lieutenant Commander, but as I remember, back then, the Alterac Valley was a terrible battleground to grind rank 14 with because of the diminishing returns. Basically, each time you kill someone, you get less and less honor, so having these day-long battles where you're mostly killing the same people is going to yield low honor returns. Instead, players would queue for the Warsong Gulch or Arathi Basin battlegrounds since they could end in a reasonable time. More so talking about AB here because this was before they added that timer in the Warsong Gulch. You would have situations where both teams would turtle and the matches would go on forever, so the Arathi Basin was quite unique in the sense that it was actually guaranteed to end. Quite quickly too, if you managed to 5-cap them. So with this nerfed AV, I wonder how that'll affect the rank 14 grind. You did get honor from winning battlegrounds of course, so I wonder if it'll be a viable option to just queue for this over and over, and rush, and win or lose as quickly as possible for that end of match honor. I mean, the grind is all relative. You'll still have to play 24/7 to compete with everyone else no matter what, but with the nerfed AV, I'm just wondering if that primary farming method would change. How funny would it be if everyone grinded to rank 14 in the one battleground that didn't really have any actual PvP action? Realistically, I'd be shocked if that turned out to be the case, but it's still funny to think about. Now, AV did reach its final nerfed vanilla state in patch 1.11, so there was actually a time in real vanilla where the rank 14 system and the nerfed AV coincided with each other. I'm not sure if we have any substantial data regarding that though, because it suffered from the same curse as Naxxramas. That was just 6 months before the Burning Crusade, and everyone knew that any gear that they got at that point would be useless once it hit, so we all kinda went on autopilot, and I think that was the rank 14 grind included. So, who knows what'll happen. Maybe they'll change their minds and decide to have progressive AV after all, and this video will be just a complete waste of time. That's about all I have to say though. In summary, a compromise on loot trading, and a 1.12 Alterac Valley. I think the biggest takeaway here is that they are listening. In their loot trading post in fact, they said that they heard our concerns, and that's the reason why it's now changing to begin with. So, let your voices be heard, as it obviously has an effect. As for myself, I'm gonna sign off for now. I hope you found the video helpful, like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.